I have a collection of grade signs for you, or grades for you. I'm staying behind the screen. How many weeks is it going to take me to remember not to pull all the way down to the floor? Let's take bets.
10.
10. That's a damn safe bet. I was going to say 11. So let's take a tour. Sit back for a while. I want to answer Matt's question finally. After I made him wait an hour and a half for the damn answer. Recognize this. College Way. College Way. Anybody run, bike, or walk up College Way before? Yes, got a yes, got a yes, got a yes. But I probably drive up it quite a bit. But grades are hard to metric in a car. Unless you're driving a car that's loaded down with a lot of stuff. Can you hear it? You know the grade's kicking up when the engine has to work harder, and you watch your fuel gauge drop, that kind of thing. But if you've walked or biked or run it, steep or not steep? Or is steep? Steep. Fairly steep. Right. And of course, this is a completely relative term. We haven't defined what steep would be as. I mean, steep, I would imagine, would be defined as something that makes you breathe hard if you have to walk up it or run up it. So, how steep? Give me a grade that you think it is. Percent grade. 2%. 6%. 5%. 3%. I feel like an auctioneer. This is great. Well, I went out and measured it. Because I have ridden my bike up this quite a bit. I come from the northeast side of town now, so I come up a different road, which you'll see in a minute. 6% is the grade, the average grade of, and I'm using the word average grade now. I'm not going to rush to get average grade in today. We'll talk about average grade on Monday. 6% is the average grade. So in other words, this grade on College Way is just like that 6% grade sign that we would see down on Highway 20, going westbound into, or eastbound into Idaho. So why isn't there a big warning sign on College Way?
Big ton truck. It's not a highway.
Shouldn't be having 18-wheelers on College Way. Occasionally we do. We do have the Sodexo truck coming up, dropping stuff off. Hopefully over the roughly 1 mile of length College Way is-ish, they're not going to be getting enough speed to run into that nice little neighborhood at the bottom. Wonder if they think about that when they live there. Please!
What about because it's curved?
That goes back to that pulling the string tight thing. This is tell me your name again.
Pam.
Pam. Did you hear Pam's question? This is so important. College Way is not a straight line. It's pretty damn close, but you can see it curves at the top. All you're measuring is how much you rise over how much you ran to get there. You can straighten that out. If we took the map of College Way looking down, we can straighten that distance out into a straight line and then look at the elevations that way. It's a great point. And you have to do it in every place except like a major metropolitan city that's laid out on a grid. And usually those grids are basically 0% grade because they don't rise, they're flat. Great question. And we'll deal with that in spades on Monday more, because we have to deal with what happens, not only with that, but also when the grades change during a hill, which we'll see momentarily. Thank you for that question, Pam. Yeah, when it flattens out or then rises up. Yeah, we'll deal with that, I think, on the next slide maybe even. So yeah, we'll start it today. We'll deal with it in spades on Monday, I promise you that. Great, great questions. So the angle. Now, here's the deal. There is a mathematical calculation for how to get the angle. But it involves supergeometry, which is called trigonometry. Some of you may have had trig classes before. Anybody? Let me just see a show of hands, quick show of hands. A good chunk of you actually have had trig classes. Don't worry about it, we're not. In the enrichment page on the Math 105 extra practice pages, I walk you through to TI's buttons that get you this command. There's a command or a mathematical function, and you know some mathematical functions. Squaring something. 4 squared is
16.
5 squared is
25.
-3 squared is
9.
good. That's quick. So you know, like that's a squaring function. How about the square root function? You know that one.
Yeah.
Square root of 100.
10.
Square root of 1. That wasn't very confident. Square root of 1. 1. Here's a tricky one. Square root of -2.
Imaginary.
Good! Imaginary. Stop. I didn't even say that. Ignore what I just said. There's a great math history behind why it's called imaginary, though. But we won't get into that in this class. Okay, so you know some functions. You know squaring, you know square rooting, you know a bunch more you don't even realize you know. There's one that you probably haven't learned unless you've taken trigonometry before, though. And that's called the tangent function. Don't worry about the word, or that it's some scary word you've never heard before, because it's not important. What's important is that it's called the tangent function, and we're going to show you how to pull these angles. Students love this.